Hi everyone, it's RJ from Emerald City Hockey. It is Tuesday, December 28th, and the Kraken have returned from their holiday break with their next scheduled game tomorrow at home against the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, a lot has happened since the Kraken last played a game 10 days ago. You've had guys entering COVID protocol, exiting COVID protocol, and a major injury as well. It can be a lot to keep track of. So I wanted to do a quick rundown of what the roster is looking like as the Kraken return to play and go through and explain why things might look pretty different, at least in the short term. To do this, I'm going to use our projected Kraken lineup graphic that you can find on our website, emeraldcityhockey.com, under the projected lineup tab. So let's start with the absences. The Kraken currently have 4 players in COVID protocol: forwards Mason Appleton and Ryan Donato, and defensemen Adam Larsson and Vince Dunn. Larsson entered COVID protocol on December 20th, so he should be eligible to return in a couple days if he's feeling okay, since players have to spend a minimum 10 days in quarantine once put in protocol. The others were added more recently, so it'll be a bit longer before they're able to come back. Now, quick note, the CDC recently changed their recommended isolation period from 10 days to 5, and professional sports leagues have been in conversations about potentially changing their COVID protocols to reflect the change. So keep an eye on that going forward. Now, the final absence is easily the most devastating one. Yesterday, the team announced that winger Brandon Tanev will miss the remainder of the season with an ACL injury, and he has been placed on injured reserve. Of course, that is a huge blow to both the team and the fans. Tanev is such an important guy both on and off the ice, and his presence in games will absolutely be missed. Here's hoping for a quick and successful recovery for Turbo. Now, let's move on to the taxi squad. So, quick refresher on taxi squads, since the NHL has reinstated them with all the COVID absences this season. A taxi squad is an extra group of players that travels and practices with the team. If regular roster players become unavailable, whether due to COVID or injury, taxi squad players can slot into the lineup immediately, without the travel and time required for a call-up from the AHL. A couple rules on taxi squads to keep in mind. First, the taxi squads are a temporary measure and will be done away with come February's All-Star break. And second, each team can have a maximum of 6 players on the taxi squad at any given time, and each player can spend no more than 20 total days on his team's taxi squad. So, on to Seattle's taxi squad. Today, the Kraken added winger Cole Lind and goalie Joey Daccord to the taxi squad. So, they'll now be traveling with the team and will be available immediately should the Kraken need to add one or both to their lineup. So now that we've gotten the non-roster players out of the way, let's take a look at the roster going into tomorrow's game. And we'll do that position by position. Now, when we look at the lineup graphic, these are just the lines we saw in practice today. They could, of course, change even as early as tomorrow, so keep that in mind as we go through them. We'll start in net, where we have Philip Grubauer and Chris Driedger, both thankfully healthy. So should be business as usual there, although as mentioned, Joey Daccord is on the taxi squad and will be ready should one of Grubauer or Driedger go down. Moving on to defense, and this is an incredibly thin blue line. The Kraken have 6 available defensemen in the entire organization right now, just enough to ice 3 D pairs. As mentioned, Adam Larsson and Vince Dunn are in COVID protocol, and all 3 of the Kraken's AHL defensemen in Charlotte are also in COVID protocol. That is why it was absolutely crucial for the Kraken to get Jamie Alexiak and Carson Soucy back. Both of them practiced today for the first time since exiting COVID protocol, and they will be good to go for tomorrow's game against the Flyers. That said, the Kraken cannot afford another absence on defense. This is as thin as it gets. With the 6 available defensemen, here's the D pairs Seattle went with in practice today. You've got Giordano Alexiak, Soucy Larsson, and Fleury Borgen. Obviously missing some important guys there, but all 3 of these D pairs have at least played together before, so hopefully they'll be alright. Moving on to the forwards, which aren't quite as thin as the defensemen. With Appleton and Donato unavailable, the Kraken have 13 available forwards, which is 1 more than the 12 who play each night, so that gives them a little flexibility. Let's look at the lines we saw in practice today. First, you've got the Schwartz, McCann, Everly line, which was together before the holiday break, so thankfully no changes having to be made there. Then you have Johansson, Wenberg, Donskoy. Donskoy filling in on that line for Mason Appleton, who, as mentioned, is in COVID protocol. Third line, you've got Yarncroke, Gord, Blackwell. Gordon Blackwell will be playing their first game after returning from COVID protocol before the holiday break, so that should help. And finally, you have a new look fourth line that has Riley Sheahan centering Max McCormick and Morgan Geekie. McCormick was called up from the Charlotte Checkers with all the COVID absences, so he'll likely get another shot in the Kraken lineup after playing 5 games earlier in the season. Geekie doesn't usually play wing, but it makes sense here given Sheahan's usual role as fourth line center when he's in the lineup. It looks like Alexander True is set to be the Kraken's lone extra forward, while Cole Lind, as mentioned, is on the taxi squad should they need another forward. So that's where the Kraken stand coming out of the holiday break. I hope this video has given you a better idea of how the Kraken roster might look a little different now and how things are going to run going forward in these still very uncertain times. Make sure to follow us at Emerald City Hockey as we keep you up to date with all the latest Kraken coverage. Thanks for watching.